big real estate fund in China. So it all changes, we have all sorts. But you need local help, otherwise it's tough.
How do you cope with hiring new people? Like, would you more hire young adults and teach them, or people with very much experience and that you know that do their job good?
You know, it's no longer that important that the wine's poured from the right and the bread served from the left, and so you should know it, but it's no longer that important. I think attitude is the most important. Because if somebody does a mistake, but with an amazing attitude, they'll be forgiven and actually loved. If somebody is surly and thinks they know everything, and you know, like you get that in some restaurants, and they make the guests feel that they're actually lower than them, that nobody wants that. So I think you have to hire for attitude. That's really important. It's also important to offer that philosophy to everybody who works with us. So we make sure the canteen food is as good as the restaurant food. That the interior designers today, in their scope, design the back of house. Obviously with cheaper materials, but as fun, quirky, colorful as the rest of the place. Accommodation has to be right. You have to offer the wellness. You have to offer yoga to the hosts and so on. And then you can keep people, and hopefully people will return and want to work with us. We also have, quite often it happens that people have been with us 10 years, 15 years, and they want to leave. They say, because I like it, but I have to do something else, and there must be something else and better. Very often they come back, which is a great compliment. And they have more experience, and when they are back, they are happier to be with us, which is good. But yeah, attitude is the most important.
Another question, how much and how many employees do you approximately have per resident?
So it varies. In Europe it's maybe 1.5 to 2 per room, per key, and we've in some places gone as far as 5 per key. But it depends. If you do your own water, your own energy, your huge island with vegetable gardens and boats and paraglides, and you need many more people than you need in a city hotel where you have a lift or where it's more efficient.
When I was going through your website, I was looking for the internships or type of jobs you offer, and I couldn't find any specifics on it. So can you please tell like what kind of internship you offer?
So we have actually internships and what we offer in Six Senses. I'm going to communicate it to you, and maybe you want to distribute it. There is somebody who does the recruitment and takes care of the programs for interns and for graduates. His name is Robert, and so I'll share that. And we are quite flexible. We look at talent, and if it's interesting talent, then we actually try sometimes to create something. And usually it's about a half year to get to know each other, which is typically not paid, and then hopefully it turns into a long relationship after half a year, where it then becomes a job.
If somebody needs to work for you for free for half a year, I guess at the end there are some benefits which your employees get.
Well, of course, we provide housing, we provide laundry, we provide food, and we provide the experience to see that, and to see whether you like us and we like you. I think that's internships. If it's graduates, then typically we look at jobs. Maybe you shout. I don't know whether there.
Okay, hi. I was just wondering, because most of your hotels are in remote destinations, and flying is by far the worst way to transport people. Are you thinking of any other ways? Sorry, I can't see you. Are you thinking of any other ways to transport people?
You know, I hear that a lot, and people say we actually contribute to carbon emissions, and we did for quite a few years a carbon offset program where every guest paid a carbon tax. Then we stopped it 3 years ago because some guests said they already do it, so why should they pay double? Some airlines do it. So we decided that we focus on whatever we can do, and I believe the benefits of bringing tourism revenues and employment to some faraway destinations far outweigh the negatives. So it's always a balance, and sustainability has three legs. You know, the people, the planet, but also the profitability. If it's not financially making sense, it's not sustainable. It can't sustain itself if it's just throwing money and hugging trees. So I think we always try to think that way. What is the return on investment? How do we prove to an owner that the investment is smart to do? So it's a balance. And by no way are we perfect. We want to be plastic free in the future, single-use plastic free. We have audited our hotels. There's still a lot of suppliers who will only ship with plastic wrapping. We are working slowly. We have a goal that in 2 years we will say we will not take suppliers to do that. But it's by no way perfect, and you always have to push. We have a vice president of sustainability who works on it. We have in Bangkok a director of sustainability. And we have in every resort since this year, since 1st of January, we insist on a full-time sustainability manager in every property. And again, owners will say, why am I paying for that? Well, they need to prove that they actually make money or save money, and always keep pushing the boundary. If you expend more and more food that you grow locally, the food cost is 5%, 7% rather than 28, 30%. And the guest is happy to pay more for it, and they're more delighted. So we always need to push the boundary. But you can't just dream it up and do it. It takes time, it takes investment. You have to convince an owner, you have to convince the local government, there's regulations, so it takes time.
You have mentioned that you have like chickens when it comes to animals, but did you take into consideration to actually maybe include more animals within the concept? Because I haven't seen much animals.
Oh, there's a lot. I haven't shown you much. We have in many places goats, sheep, chicken, bees.
So it's in terms of animals which can also be usable of producing food, giving food and such. Like,
Yes,
so you can-
we decided that we don't want to go into butchery and doing that ourselves. So all we do is products like eggs or cheese or milk and so on. But it's absolutely a part of everything. We are planning in some places to have home dogs or cats, and so it's all.
Like, for example, horses or something like
We
that.
do have plans for horses in some places and so on. Yes.
And those farms or farms, are they always located at the same place?
So in Ziggy Bay, it's very salty sand. We do have a little vegetable garden, but there we have 2,000 date palm trees that love to grow there. So we have 1,500 kilos of dates per year, more than we can use. We do date scrubs and date everything. But then we have about half an hour away in the back valley where the earth is better, we have a big vegetable garden.
Do you think the philosophy behind Six Senses reflects a changing world where people care more about sustainability? And also, to which extent do you think that your choices, your environmental friendly approach influence people's decision to come to your hotels rather than others?
So yeah, it's changed so much. Today everybody talks about sustainability and being responsible to the environment, and it's changed hugely. I think we have changed some of it, that guests, today we show the water plants where we produce our own water, or the chicken and all that, we show it to the guests, we bring them there. and they love it. They actually want to see it. They take photos, they talk about it. Yeah, I think it's a process. And we do have loyal guests who come just because of that, for sure. Because they see it's much more beautiful, it's much more intelligent. That salad tastes so much fresher, and it's guaranteed to be organic and not from somewhere you don't know. So people see the beauty and the intelligence in it rather than, it took time. Because there was this thing, you charge a lot, so you have to fly everything in.
Here you mentioned there that you have a solar island, basically fully using the renewable sources. And do you cooperate with Tesla or not? And in other words, are you willing to implement technologies into your sustainability hotels?
So we do have guidelines that we prescribe all that we would love to do, but by the end it's a negotiation with the owner. And it's only recently that there is batteries that can really store power efficiently enough to do it. So we hope to do more solar resorts. We try to work with Tesla because we love what they do, but they are not really interested. They are so popular and they do so well that they are not interested. Even Bhutan, we said it's the royal family, it's the happiest and most sustainable country in the world. Why don't we cooperate on bringing lots of Teslas, and the royal family will convince the government and everybody to drive them? They weren't really interested, sadly. We had to buy the car in Hong Kong and wait for it and ship it to India and drive it up. So sadly they're not interested to do that, but we will use as much technology as we can. And it's getting better and better and easier. But it's a balance. You can't be fanatic, then it doesn't work.
Any more questions?
All right, thank you. Just two short questions. How does a day look like in your business life? And the second is, at the Global Wellness Summit, you presented, your architects presented a very exciting project in Algeria, I guess. How about that? Is that built now, or was that just a study, or what is going on with that? Thank you.
So the easier one is the second question. That was a study. It hasn't happened. Not yet, right? A typical day, okay, the last week, last Wednesday I landed in Zurich in the morning. I took the train to Geneva. I had a business lunch with our resort project. It's under construction in Crans-Montana. From there, a gentleman who lives in Geneva but is the owner of our project in Bordeaux, he took me in his private plane to Bordeaux. We talked about the contract on the plane. We landed there, we had a dinner with the mayor and the local sous-préfet, the governor, to convince him that the project is good for the community. And the next day we had a ground stone laying ceremony for the project. There were press interviews, press meetings, and then in the afternoon I flew to Barcelona to connect to Ibiza for that project. I had dinner with the owner there, we talked contract, we talked design and so on. And the next day we went to the site. We had some brokers to come that will help sell the residential units there. So we're interviewing various brokers. I met the owner of another project who maybe won 6 Senses, and the next morning I flew through Barcelona to Malaga. There I went to Marbella, where in Puente Romano we have a spa. I tried to see every owner once a year, and then met the team who worked there, talked to them about what we do, the philosophy, and then I had a dinner with that owner, and then I flew, I think, to Munich. And I had an evening and a day of press interviews, trying to tell the German press what we do, what we're up to, what's new projects, and then I got invited here. So being here, I met for lunch a project on the Dachstein that we hope to do. We are talking for 3 years with them. It takes a long time to convince owners to do it and talk contract. At the same time, he started showing me something in Vienna that he may want to do. I saw a house here this afternoon when I came here. And tonight I'm meeting the owner of our Six Senses Kids Pool project for dinner. And he's seeing me with his banker and another broker for that residential. And tomorrow I fly to Berlin and I see all of the air tours, some top tour operators. So this mainly is meeting owners, meeting people who work with us, doing press, media, tour operators and so on. So that's a typical travel schedule. It's good that I enjoy what I do, so I don't need days off. When I go back in Bangkok, a typical day is a lot of meetings when I'm there, just catching up with all the different disciplines. We have vice presidents for finance, sales, marketing, operations, spa, development, technical services, HR. I think that's maybe it. So it's meeting with them, with the teams. We have about 90 people in Bangkok, and staying in touch with them, staying in touch with the numbers, understanding what the business is like. And then sometimes stuff happens that is unforeseen and you have to jump somewhere because there's a crisis of some sort. So that's a typical few days.
Just one additional question is about how do you think that Six Senses has quite a long tradition now, since more than 20 years, and but there was a big change when the company got sold, and now there's a new owner. So, do you think you're shifting now from a spa company to a hotel business company?
So we started as a hotel company. We, 2 years into it, decided to do spas. They became a success. We decided to put them in all our resorts, and then some outside hotel companies called and said, would you do a spa for us? We decided to do that. So then the spas actually grew more quickly. They're easier to set up, they're smaller. So we grew the spas more quickly, and that's why we got more known for spas, but we are actually a hotel company. 5 years ago, we decided to separate from a previous main shareholder, investor. It's the Soneva Group. He was invested in several of our hotels and was more interested in their benefit than the managed properties. So we decided we should separate. You can't really, owners were saying you're serving your main shareholder more than us. And that was true. And so we decided to separate. He sold out, and we brought in a new investor from New York with the vision to give us a lot of money to build the brand to be able to grow globally. So it was great stuff, wonderful stuff, but there was not much system behind it. So millions have gone into the last 5 years into building a better website, better platforms, reviewing all our policies, procedures. They were too much, we simplified them. We call them guidelines. We don't want to dictate anymore, but rather guide. We put a lot of web-based things together that help us manage. So we are now able to, and we brought also a lot of talent. We have brought some talent who were in much bigger companies, much bigger names, who decided to join us because we have a cool story and something that has future. So we've been able to get some amazing talent in that we couldn't have gotten in without that investor. So I think we are now able to grow as quickly as I showed you. There's a lot happening. In 2 years we'll double in size, and we don't want to lose the plot. We want to actually be more true to our values, not less. We get phone calls almost every day, somebody saying, oh, we have a plot here, and can you manage? And if it's just one block between many hotels on a beach, then we say, no, thank you, it's not for us. If they are not buying into sustainability, we say no. So there's temptation. We were asked to do a hotel on the palm. You know that thing in Dubai, that artificial palm? And we said, that's not for us. And the sheikh got extremely upset. He said, but how much money you want? I want your brand. And we said, well, sorry, when you find something in the desert for us that is natural, he got very upset. But I think in the end he respected it more. So you have to stay true to your value. How are we on time? Is it good?
Excellent, yes. Stay for another 5 minutes. Thank you very much. Tuesday. And if you haven't signed yet, there is a signing sheet.
Yeah.